Can toxic masculinity, oh boy, here we go, and male agency be considered synonymous? I've noticed an uptick in the term recently. Male agency or toxic masculinity definitely has seen an uptick recently. I think one of the reasons why toxic masculinity has been a thing is because you see governments actually trying to limit and censor Twitter with the express intent of squelching the voices of myself, Andrew Tate, anybody who they deem as toxically masculine. Me telling you just with the unvarnished truth about female nature without saying, oh, but men do it too, right? If I do that, if I just give you facts and I don't tell you how to feel about it, I'm being a toxically masculine fuck. I'm a misogynist for doing that. Especially if I'm saying something that's sort of unflattering about male nature, that's okay. I've said in the past, and I actually said this on Dr. Phil. I said, we only celebrate masculinity when it looks like femininity. We celebrate it when The Rock puts on a pink tutu and does the Tooth Fairy movie. It's so good. Oh, it's The Rock. Ha ha. You know, oh, he's getting in touch with his feminine side. That's such positive masculinity. That's not toxic. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity, period. Male agency, like if there's a conflation between male agency, meaning male power, really, like an ability to sort of enforce a man's ability to enforce his own will, a man who is a hyper agent, right? Not a hypo agent. He happens to the world. You're always going to, whenever you impose a male will on the world, even when it's meant to help other people, it still seems toxically masculine because it came from a dude. If you have a penis and you try to like make the world better, you're a misogynist for having done so. Unless you're a male feminist, unless you're celebrating your femininity while you're doing it, right? There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's only masculinity, and there are the aspects of it that align with gynocentrism, that align with a female correct social structure, a female correct narrative, and there's the parts that don't. So it's not toxically masculine when the firefighter runs in and uses his masculinity and takes charge, and his leader exercises his leadership and goes in and saves the baby from the burning building. That's positive masculinity. But that's the same impulse that makes guys, go bungee jumping or do those stupid stunts that risk their lives, like jumping across really high buildings and rolling and tumbling and all that shit. Or what is it when you're jumping off of, like, I keep seeing this in my feed all the time. You're jumping off these really super high cliffs and they'll throw a rock over onto the thing. Well, why do you throw the rock? You got to see where the rock lands. So that's where I'm going to put my ass, right? And aim for where the rock was. That's masculinity. That's taking a really stupid, crazy risk. But it's also taking a risk, running into a burning building to save a baby. One of those risks is you're a fucking toxically masculine shitwad. That's what it is. But it's the same masculinity. And we have to accept that. Well, men are innately aggressive and men kill men and men kill women and men are violent. Yeah, we are. And what else? Yes, we are. Oh, well, that's toxically masculine. No, it's not. It's not when I save your life from the guy that was going to kill you. It's not when it's not a we good? Oh, okay. It's not not toxically masculine when it serves a female imperative, when it saves women's life and limb or the babies, That's the difference, right? But the thing is you can't accept the proper good use of masculinity without also accepting that the fact that maybe guys they want to ride wheelies down the fucking street to impress you. Maybe they want to drive really fast cars. Maybe they want to, yell and scream and fucking fight. That's masculinity too. But you don't like that because that makes you like, women don't like that, so it must be toxic. Fuck you. The only reason you see it as toxic is because you have been raised in a social condition of female correctness. Men aren't even human. Men are subhuman to that mentality, to that ideology for sure. Men don't exist. Men aren't human. You're not human unless you can be more like a woman. You're not human unless you go to therapy. You're not human unless you cry at the end of the Titanic. You're not human unless you listen to her Talk about the nail in her head. I was just talking about that recently. If you haven't seen that, I should probably show that. I don't know if I have the movie. I don't think I have it. Do I have that? What about the nothing? It's not about the nail, right? It's only like a minute and a half, but it's like the guy's sitting on the couch and there's the woman. She's got a nail in her head and she's like, I have this feeling, this horrible pain in my forehead. And she just wants to vent about the horrible pain in her forehead. And the guy's like, well, I bet if we took that nail out of your head, you wouldn't have that pain anymore. She's like, it's not about the nail, because she wants to talk about it, because feels before reals. The reals would be, well, let's solve the problem, right? And I was texting about, I was on Twitter talking about this recently. And I was like, at some point, if you're the guy on the couch, you're going to have to either get up and leave the fucking couch and leave her to her own bullshit, or you're going to pull the nail out of her fucking head. That's the end result of that, because you can't sit. It is unsustainable for you to sit there and be a good listener and to be, a good supportive husband, boyfriend, listening to her bitch about a problem that you could solve by simply pulling the nail out of her head. So the choice is this. So in a female correct society, that guy is a non-toxic, good husband, good listener, good guy, good male, if he sits there and listens endlessly to her, venting her emotions, talking about problems, complaining about this, complaining about that. And the nail can be anything. It can be like, oh, men are dogs, right? It could be like, oh, I don't make enough money. Oh, my cooter hurts, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the problem is. It's her talking about it, her expressing the feelings about it and everything else. And at some point, that's no way to live your fucking life. But in a female correct society where men are less than human, if you leave the couch, you're less than human. If you pull the nail out, you're less than human. But if you sit there and talk to her and converse with her and communicate with her like her girlfriends, then you're human. Then you're a good listener. Thank you. Thanks for being there. And it doesn't solve anything. It's no way to live your fucking life. And that's why guys are like, because men are deductive problem solvers. We want to get shit done. I would much rather you don't have that nail in your head so that you feel better. And we don't have to listen to this. We can move on. We can have a different conversation about something else, right? No, you're even suggesting that makes you it's toxically masculine, because that they have to have a word for it. There has to be some sort of like classification for it. That's misogyny. It's misogyny if you want to solve my fucking problem. It's mansplaining. You're mansplaining because you want to pull the nail out of my head. Fuck you. I want to solve your problem. I care enough to want to solve your problems. But guess what? You think I'm being toxically masculine because I want to take the nail out of your head. I'm using the allegories. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be using metaphors again. But yeah, toxic masculinity does not exist. There's only masculinity. And if you think that it's, men commit violent acts and men rape and men do this and men do that. Yeah, we do. So that should mean that you should appreciate me that much more for keeping that shit under control, for keeping my violent tendencies, my innate evolved mental firmware that predisposes me to anger. And when I want to express my emotions, it's usually anger instead of crying about it. Then you wouldn't want it any other way, especially when fucking shit hits the fan. You don't want it any other way.